Hey YouTube, how the heck we doing? I am here bringing you the latest Teemo update. I don't know when I'll do another one, so this is the official builds and runes for Teemo in Season 13, so pay the heck attention. Also, we have our YouTube and stream mascot, Say Hi to Chevy, pay your respects at the door. He's a precious little angel. He's a little turkey, but you know, hey, love him to death. All right, so anyway, let me just give you a quick preview. I want to get right into the runes and builds, though. The reason why I'm doing this now is because this big old change. Doran's shield got nerfed. 2 health per 5 seconds off. This item is effectively nerfed by 33%, which will bring back a different Teemo build you can use, and Teemo's now better. So this is the main reasoning why we're doing this now and not a month ago. Also, pay attention. Grasp is getting buffed in about 1 week from this video, so be on the lookout for Grasp. I'm also adding Grasp back in the rotation because of this change right here. So that's just 2 things I want to get off the top, and let's crack right into it. So I set everything up here for y'all, the runes and builds for Teemo. So last guide pretty much was run press the attack if you want to win. Well, that's out the door. We have options now, which is good for you. So we're going to start with the runes here. Now I'm going to go a little slower so everybody is on the same page, but go one by one. Grass of the Undying. I use Grass of the Undying when I want to scale. This is my rune page to scaling. This isn't a win lane rune page, okay? This page is to scale. Also, let me preface by saying each of these pages have a different reasoning to go them. So we're going to go over that each one. But to start, Grass is to scale. So you would take Grass versus an Ornn that you're not going to kill, right? If that's your playstyle, all this is playstyle based. So if you just want to scale, you take Grasp, you get 30 procs, boom, it's now worth it. Now you can mess with the secondary runes a little. Conditioning you don't have to take. You could take more lane presence. Overgrowth you don't have to take. You could take Unflinching if they have CC. For your secondary, I like Cheap Shot Ultimate Hunter. Again, I'm playing to scale with Grasps, so these scale pretty good. But really, you can go anything you want. If you wanted to go Gathering Storm, that's fine. If you wanted to go Attack Speed, that's fine. It doesn't really matter with this page. The secondaries are free to boogie. And then your third slot should always be Attack Speed, AP, and then you can go Armor, MR, or Health. It depends on you. Health is to scale. Obviously, it synergizes, but you can go Armor and MR. So Grasp, our first page, is to scale, to farm and scale. Area is the opposite. Now again, this is only good because Doran's shield got nerfed. Area is a poke page, and it's good to poke your opponents out of lane, resulting in a kill eventually. You also Q-max when you go Area. Usually, you don't have to, but usually it's pretty good Q-maxing. So I go Area when I can poke them out of lane. If I can all-in them, I wouldn't go Area, right? So this is for lanes that you can't all-in. You're looking for like an auto-Q, run away, auto-Q, run away. If you're versus Jace, you can go this page. If you're versus Quinn top, Vayne top, you're versus Kennen top, you see all these lanes are just an auto-Q, and bookie. This page does a lot of damage for that. I like to go Mana Flow Ban. You could go Nimbus Cloak, that's fine. Absolute Focus is a must because it's for early game. Area is not a scaling rune page, you do it for the early game. So Absolute Focus is a much. Then I like Scorch as well to really pack that oomph. Secondary, I do like Cheap Shot Ultimate Hunter. Cheap Shot's good early game and scales, and you get auto Q. All this bonus damage on the auto Q. You got Cheap Shot, Kick, and Absolute Focus, and Scorch. It hit like a truck. So I wouldn't really move off this secondary that much. For the third one, I would go Armor and MR depending on your lane. You can also go Adaptive Force for this. If you really want to win lane, then your CSing is going to take a hit. That's going to be Airy, and we're bringing this page back because Doran's shield got nerfed. Because if Jace builds Doran's shield, Aery's still not that good, but now that Doran's shield got nerfed, it brings it open a little bit. Fleet is going to be your survivability rune. So Fleet, it's a little bit harder to use. I would say intermediate rune page, but this is going to be how you survive. If you look at Fleet, attacking and moving builds energy. At 100 stacks, your next attack is energized, which heals you for a crap ton. Now look at the fine text on the bottom. Healing minions, it's reduced, but if you hit the enemy champion or the enemy turret, this heals a buku amount. You're oftentimes walking out of lane with 1,000 healing, which is insane. So I like to take Fleet when I need to survive. Also, if you just want like a generic room page, this is a good generic room page. Because Fleet's never going to get you 5 solo kills, but it's never going to be bad. Little extra healing never hurts. So to survive, or just as a general room page, if you don't know what to go, Fleet is a safe option. Triumph, you could go Presence of Mind, but I think Triumph is pretty broken. Alacrity is a must. I've been seeing a lot of Teemo goes Last Stand, but Coup de Grace is also fine. And your secondary, very flexible on this page. If you want more movement speed to dodge stuff, you can go Celerity. If you want more damage, Cheap Shot Ultimate Hunter. If you want more survivability, you can go Second Wind, Bone Plating, Unflinching, Overgrowth. This secondary doesn't matter. It's going to be up to you. And same deal with the 3s. Then you have Pressy Attack, all reliable, the all-in room page. If you want to carry laning phase, if you want a 1v1, if you want to carry the game early, you got to go Pressy Attack. My personal favorite, it allows you to get those solo kills you would never get. Any champion that you can auto 3 more times. So Camille, Darius, those bruisers, right? Any champ you can auto 3 times. And again, a lot of this is play style, which we'll touch base on in a second. So Pressy Attack, your classic all-in rune page. Same deal with the 3 little ones. Secondary, kind of go whatever you want. Yet again, right? A lot of flexibility with this patch for Teemo. So yeah, that's going to be Pressy Attack. And then First Strike is one of my personal favorites. This is a scaling rune page as well. First Strike is a scaling rune page. It's only going to be good if you just want to sit back and farm, and you're guaranteed to get the First Strike proc off. That's the big money. Only way to take this page is if you know you can always attack them first. If you're versing an Ornn, right, very good rune page. If you're versing Riven, right, because you can auto first, very good rune page. And this is for those scalers. A lot of playstyle flexibility this patch. And it's pretty hard to think about that. So, so magical footwear, it's just free gold. Again, you're scaling. You're not looking to solo kill. You're not going to rush boots and run them down. It's just a free gold room page. You're scaling, playing for the mid to late game, so you get your boots. Basically, it gives you some more mana and survivability, cosmic insight, right? It's all just plain Jane. Secondary, again, doesn't matter, but I would take something scaling, so either Cheap Shot Ult or Absolute Focus Gathering Storm. Those are going to be the 5 room pages that I use. Grasp, Airy, Fleet PT at First Strike. Now, I explained all the reasonings why. Now this is part 2. The play style. So a lot of this comes down to your personal play style. Don't feel forced to go what Daddy Manko says. You can pick what you want. And this is where it will take some time to learn. So, for example, versus Camille, if you want to kill her, you take Pressy Attack. But if you want to just farm versus her, you can very well take Grasp or Fleet, right? So, a lot of playstyle things to go with here, and that's up to you. I'm giving you options, you got to pick them. And I could give a couple more examples, because this is where it's going to get tricky. Versus Kennen top lane, I would go Airy and try and solo Dolo Kennen, but if you want to go Fleet just to survive, right, that's A-OK as well. Again, Ornn top lane. If you want to kill Ornn, you go Pressy Attack. If you want to just farm, you can go First Strike. If you want to farm and scale and be tanky, you can go Grasp. So a lot of the options here are going to be up to you to use, but that is the fun part of Teemo. That's going to be the 5 room pages. I didn't include Dark Harvest because I think it's really bad top lane. It's very unlikely to get a lot of procs off and make it worthwhile. Electrocute is kind of outdated. I don't think any Teemo mains run that rune anymore. Lethal Tempo is just a worse Pressy Attack. I left out Phase Rush, but Phase Rush is okay into very select few matchups. So if you run Phase Rush into Olaf, or run Phase Rush into Nasus, or Phase Rush into Aatrox, I think that's okay, but that's the only 3 champs I can name off the top of my head, so I didn't include it. And that's going to be a rundown of all the runes. Let's boogie over to items. And items here, we're going to have the most flexibility as well. So let's start with the most common ones. Riftmaker. It's going to be an all-around good item. It's never going to be bad on Teemo. All reliable, right? It gives you AP, Omnivamp, health, ability haste. This item's never going to be bad. So you can just close your eyes and pick Riftmaker every game and you're fine. That's a viable way of playing. I think you should go Nashers every game, especially your Riftmaker. So that's your core items. And situational. This is where it gets a little crazy. Again, this patch is League of Teemo flexibility, which is beautiful. These items are going to be repeated throughout every build, so pay close attention. Zanya's is more survivability. with the active, with the playmaker potential. Demonic is survivability without any skill, without any active. Demonic has gotten buffed a couple times, so it is back in the rotation for Teemo. It's a decent item. Void Staff, good versus heavy magic resist users. Death Cap, good if you're fed, snowballing, or if they don't have magic resist. Shadow Flame, same deal as Death Cap. Oblivion Orb, I like to sneak in an Orb versus heavy healing teams. But the trick with Oblivion Orb, they changed around with Morello. Morello is not really good on Teemo anymore, so if you get Orb, you want to get it early, and you don't ever want to upgrade it. They changed Orb to give 40% Grievous Wounds. It's the same as Morello. So when you buy Morello, you're just buying the stats. That's not really worth it. 10 Magic Pen, 200 health, and 60 AP. You want to buy Orb early and just sit on it, never upgrade it, sell it at the end of the game. And Cosmic Drive is just an all-around good item. You get a little bit of everything. So these situational items are always going to matter. You got to think about them every time when doing AP builds. Here's an example. You have your Nashor's Riftmaker. Oh, they have a 40-0 Zed on the enemy team. You're going to go Zanya's, right? Oh, Nashor's Rift, they have 3 fat tanks with MR. You got to go Void Staff. That's kind of like the thought process. You get these 2 items and you have to think, right? They have 4 Aatroxes, we go Orb. And then you keep doing that every item. So they have a 40-0 Zed, boom. Oh, what do you know? That Zed built 5 magic resist items, boom. That's your build, right? And then Death Cap last. So the situational, you got to think about it. But again, this is the patch of flexibility, which is all we can ask for. That's your first build, Riftmaker. Liandry's will be second most popular. Now, a very big misconception. People just build Liandry's because it used to be the best item in the game. It no longer is the best item in the game. You can't build it every game. Liandry's is only good when you're versus tankier teams. So to build Liandry's, in my professional opinion, they have to have at least 2 tanks on their team. They have an Orin top, says you want a jungle, boom, Liandry's is good. I also like pairing Cutdown with Liandry's, but that's, more advanced. But Liandry's is no longer the end-all, be-all amazing item. You want to build it only versus tankier opponents. So that's going to be Liandry's, and you do the same situational dance that you did before. Void, most common, you're going to get Void because tanks build MR. They get MR, you go Void. So most common Void, but Cosmic Drive's fine, Demonic. The whole situational dance before you do it all over again. Crown is a sleeper OP item for Teemo. Crown is going to be good only when, 1, they don't have poke, 2, they have a lot of one-shot champions like assassins, which is actually somewhat common in this meta. So Crown is good for those games. They have 3 assassins. Here's a very typical team comp, right? They have Kiana mid lane. They have, we'll say Zed jungle, or even a Fed Kindred jungle, right? And they have a Kennen top lane, right? Or any 3 one-shot champions. And Crown is going to be really good. You have to make sure they don't have poke, because if they have a Xerath on the enemy team, well, you're probably not going to get any value out of Crown, because you're always going to get it poked off. So no poke plus assassins. Crown's actually kind of insane. For 2,800 gold, you get all these goodies, and the mythic passive's actually really good. So, Crown is good versus those champions that have assassin potential, not a lot of poke. And again, you do the same situational dance, okay? Same situational dance with these items. And then last but not least, we have Heartsteel. Heartsteel has been making the rounds. I don't think AD Teemo is good, but going like a tankier Teemo with Heartsteel as your core item is not bad. Heartsteel is kind of like a 1-item power spike in itself. You buy this item, you start stacking. It does a little bit of damage, gives you health, gives you a whole bunch of goodies, and you can kind of work around that. So Heartsteel is often paired with Grasp of the Undying. I would almost say you have to use Grasp when you go Heartsteel. So if you're going Heartsteel, it's going to be in a lane that Grasp is viable. It's going to be in a lane that doesn't go back and forth early game. A lane that's very low kill potential. Again, you're just farming. So here's a good Heartsteel game. You're versus Ornn top lane. You take Grasp. You tell yourself, hey, I'm just farming. You rush Heartsteel, right? Boom. There it is, right? You're farming Grasp procs. You have a whole lot of HP. Now you're going to be 1,000 more health than usual, and not going to die so much. There's a Korean Teemo player that has been going Heartsteel that's in Masters right now. That's where I got the inspiration from. Also, I have some videos on him. So Heartsteel is going to be a very niche build, but it is pretty decent. It takes a little bit of a learning curve. You go Heartsteel versus a non-active lane, then the situational items. If they have heavy MR team, you would go Wit's End. If they don't have a heavy MR team, if they have fat tanks, you go Bork. If they have neither, you go Nashers. You need one attack speed item. So there it is. Titanic and Demonic are good to rally off Heartsteel. You kind of just have to play it by ear, right? You have to really judge. Do you need damage or do you need more tankiness, right? If you need more damage, you can go Hydra, you can go Demonic because they scale Heartsteel. If you need more tankiness, I have Zanya's here. You also can build tank items, but this build's very experimental. It's kind of hard to give advice on it. You kind of just have to play it by game. But your core at least will be Heartsteel plus one attack speed item, and then Demonic or Titanic, and then go from there. But this is actually very viable at Grasp. Now, those are going to be the 4 meta builds in my opinion. I still don't think Everfrost is worth anything. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put Ludens on here. Let's put Ludens in there. Well, look at that. Say it isn't so. Ludens is back on the menu as well, because here's why Ludens is back on the menu. Remember we talked about earlier? Doran's Shield has been nerfed. So with Doran's Shield being nerfed, we can now go like squishier builds sometimes. So when you go Ludens, it needs to be versus a team that's not going to build Magic Resist. Very niche build as well, because Ludens works off Magic Pen, flat Magic Pen that is, which is countered by Magic Resist. So when you go Ludens, you have to go Swark Boots, you have to go Ludens. This creates a very bursty build, but again, only versus champs that don't build MR. So you're looking at a game. If you're versus an Ornn top, you never build Ludens, right? If you're versus a champion that's going to build MR, you never build Ludens. If you have 3 magic damage champs on your team, you're most likely never going to build Ludens unless they're all squishy. But when you get those games where you versus a laner that's squishy, Vayne top, Varus top, Kennen top, even Camille if she doesn't build MR, even Aatrox if they're not building MR, right? You got to kind of look at your team comp. If you are the only magic damage, Ludens could be really good. Very niche build, though. But a Ludens game would look like you're versus a top laner that you took Airy against. You go Airy, you Q-max, you rush Ludens. You're doing a whole chunk of damage, right? And yeah, so it's going to be versus very squishy team comps. Very niche, but that option is there. And the situation items will be the same. Death Cap when you get later in the game. Shadow Flame for more damage. Cosmic Drive is fine and a nice balanced item. Void Staff if they do build MR. Same situations as always. Zanya's if you need survivability. Where you at? Same situational items, but Ludens is viable. So that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 builds for you for Teemo. I'm going to give a couple examples to kind of put it in your mind. Hey, you're versus a top lane champion that you took Pressy Attack into. With Pressy Attack, you're going to be all-inning. You're going to be going Riftmaker or Liandry's. Pressy Attack also melts tanks. So if you have Pressy Attack versus a tank or a tanky team, you go Pressy Attack Liandry's. If you have Pressy Attack, and they're not really tanky, Pressy Attack Riftmaker, right? Oh, hey, you went Crown, right? They have a lot of one-shot assassins. You would probably have went Aryan lane or even Grasp if you're going just farming a lane into Crown. Even Fleet Footwork, right, in lane to survive, then you go Crown. Heartsteel is Grasp only. Ludens is probably like Airy or even Fleet, but we're not going to go Ludens or Pressy Attack because it's a burst build. Those are just some small examples. And I almost left out Boots for y'all. So Boots is going to be its own topic by itself. You can kind of go any Boots you want as Teemo. It gets very confusing. The easiest things are when you take Pressy Attack, you go Berserkers. That's very easy, very beautiful. Also, when you take the Heartsteel build, you go Berserkers. Because with that build, you're tanky enough, so you need the attack speed. So Berserkers is automatic when you go Pressy Attack or you go Heartsteel. When you're going other builds, like if you're going Fleet, you want to just survive, you could go Steel Caps. You could go Merc Treads, depends on the lane. Swifties is also pretty decent when you're versus champions that you have to dodge. I think Swifties versus Aatrox is good. Swifties versus Darius. So you have a lot of options here as well. Swark Boots are good for damage-based builds. So Sork boots with Ludens would be decent. Sork boots with Leandries if you're not going press the attack. Swifties versus any champions you have to kite. Berserkers with press the attack and Heartsteel. Steel caps and mercs when you want to survive. And that is going to be the updated Teemo Runes and Builds Guide. Specifically for patch 13.4, but I'm thinking this will stick around for a while. A TLDR for those people that just skip to the end and see my beautiful face. Grass for scaling. Airy for winning lane, aka poke. Fleet for surviving. Press the attack for all inning / carrying. First strike for scaling and going a lot of damage. Items. Riftmaker if you want to build it every game it's viable. Crown versus Assassins. Leandries versus Tanks. Heartsteel if you like to be tanky. Ludens for one-shotting. That is it. I hope you all enjoy. Have fun. Kick some ass.